And let me tell you about the Higher Self Expo July 2021. It's a 24-hour event with 33 guest speakers who are sharing their wisdom and exploring the connection between science and spirituality. Today's guest is a guest speaker at this event. To register your place and find out more, go to www.higherselfexpo.com. Hey everyone, it's Louisa Tunner-Munson from Feel Good Astrology, and I've got a lovely Feel Good conversation today with someone that's just come into my orbit via the Higher Self Expo. He's a guest presenter at the Higher Self Expo this year, and he's talking about his subject because it fits in perfectly with the where science meets spirituality theme. He is somebody who has had a lifetime of working with sound. And right now he is working with sound and healing frequencies to tune in to people's biofields and to work with the biofields to help them release stuck energy. Now, this is something that I'm massively interested in. Anything vibrational really gets me going and really sort of excites me. I think what I really like is the fact that there are other paths to healing, and these paths might not necessarily be the sort of healing that we encounter, you know, in the middle of an illness or a crisis. But this is the kind of healing that is ongoing healing to help us stay well and to know when we fall out of the wellness resonance. So this is almost like about us tuning in to our own health and learning how to do that. So my guest today is Bobby Vasquez, who I'm going to interview in just a second. I'm really, really excited. So the title for this is Tuning into the Electric Body, Tuning into the Right Frequency. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's bring Bobby in now. Right, so it's my absolute delight and pleasure to bring on my guest today. That's Bobby. Here he is. Hi, Bobby. How you doing?
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, I was going to say good, but then I wanted to say groovy. I think the sort of like idea of frequency and tone and whatnot is playing on my mind. So I've already primed the audience today, telling them about what you do. But I guess I'd like to start at the beginning and find out what led you there in the first place before we sort of like talk more about how we can tune into the right frequencies of our electric body.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that question. I just wanted to say thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate that. It's I've been looking forward to this. So what led me here to this journey? It's been a long road. I've been studying sound for about 20 years now. I was trained in audio production, music recording. And that's what I went to school for. I had those big rock and roll dreams, right? You know, I wanted to work with the rock and roll band.
Did you play as well? Or?
I played drums, you know, so that's why my heart was really set on working in the studio, that kind of life, right? Eventually that turned into live sound roadie dreams. So, you know, you go from a production, you know, doing recording with bands, and I got the bug to work out in live, doing the live gigs, doing live sound, working for big corporate companies, working for, you know, big anywhere from Willie Nelson to Tony Bennett, different artists like that, whether I was a stage tech, whether I was slinging the cable and just rolling cable out or pushing a case. It was different facets, different roles of this job. But I'd been doing it mainly for sound for probably going in about 15 plus years, where I was really heavy into it. The lifestyle, you know, the grind, working long hours, a Bay Area roadie. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I never went on the road, but I was always on the road. I was always traveling, you know, 20, 30 miles for a show, for the event, for that 1 to 2 hour event, right? You know, we do so much work for that 1 to 2 hour event. And eventually I saw a lot of I'd had a life of a fair amount of trauma that I experienced within my family. Um, People around me were having health crises, as well as I was experiencing some of my own health issues, right?
Yeah.
Um, that led me on exploration and just kind of searching for more answers, right? Um, Being a sound guy, being a studying sound, I went to the natural, uh, what I already know, what I already knew, and started researching more about, you know, and I couldn't even tell you how I started learning because so much of these education just kind of lands on you, or these paths just kind of land, and then you follow it, and then you learn more about it. Um, but I really started getting into like researching about frequencies, um, brainwave entrainment.
Yeah.
Really binaural beats and the way the brain relaxes. And I started using it even on myself for relaxation, for stress, for pain, different things like that. Um, and I wanted another way to be able to help my family, help my loved ones. Little did I know that I was really helping myself, in this
That
long, in this
definitely.
big picture, right?
We often one of the things I often notice about people is that they often have jobs where they are actually doing for others what they need themselves, almost
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, that's eventually what came to me, right? So much of this work that I was doing, like, oh, I can be able to help this loved one and that family member, and you're surrounded by so much, and you see so much that you can't do anything for, right? Or you just witness and you hold space, but you want to be able to maybe help some way.
Yeah.
And growing up, I've always kind of been that way, right? I've always, oh, how can I help out? How can I help out my family? How can I help out my wife? How can I help out my friends? So it was kind of a natural way, to kind of approach things. And it changed my life. It created a difference within who I was, entirely. Um, it started opening up more doors of like, why am I doing all this?
Yeah.
Right? You start having more realizations. And when you working in show business, working with these events, you're really working for somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
You're really putting somebody else up on, you're doing all this work to put somebody up on this pedestal so they can shine,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And
And did you notice as well as you started to learn more about vibration that the vibrations around you were potentially quite harmful?
yes, yes.
That must have been a
Um, and that's something that, like you don't think about. You get excited into the love, right, of what you're doing.
yeah.
And you know, when I got more into, like playing with frequencies and tones and learning about um, Dr. Reif and all his healing that he did with frequency healing and just different ways, it was really I was able to kind of, with that good education, you came in the education of like the harmful side of the frequencies. When you learn about all the good that frequencies can do, there's a counter to it. You start seeing a little bit of, electromagnetic frequencies, dirty electricity, whether it's, the frequencies that are in the walls of your home, the frequencies in your cell phone. So I started educating myself a little bit about that. And interestingly, I took an energy class, and then I took a biowell analysis class where you do energy analysis through your fingertips. And I saw that my energy field had all these holes in it. It was like non-existent almost, or in certain parts. It was like just really these holes. And this was kind of right in the beginning of when I started, learning about energy,
Mm.
started learning about frequencies. And I worked with there's a medical intuitive and kind of explaining me, you're really EMF sensitive. And what do you do? Well, this is what I've been doing, and this is how I've been living, essentially, right? And I even, it was like I even felt I did a good job when I was doing those shows. Like I did extra work to take care of myself, bringing your food, bringing your clothes, getting rest, and I was still getting affected, right, on this negative level. So I saw all these holes kind of in my energy field, in my energy body, through this software, through this analysis. And it's GDV technology analysis. It's a wellness device that people use to check their stress, to check their energy levels before it gets into the physical, essentially, right? It was eye-opening to see that, because I had just taken this class all about energy and all about learning about how we can have an effects on our energy levels. And then I see what I've been doing to myself, essentially, what your job that you had, your passion, your heart, everything that you put into, right? You're putting all yourself. And then this is the effect. You're not feeling the best either, you know, and then you see this. So, you get, it's like, you get that decision, you get posed with that decision of what you're going to do in life. I could stay here with this easy path that I kind of already know and create more harm to myself, and who knows what else could happen in the future, right, if I continue to stay here.
Yeah.
Along the lines, I'd seen plenty of coworkers either get sick or even not make it, within this lifestyle. So definitely I was presented with a lot of stuff, right? I was presented with a lot of things. Okay, you could continue to stay here, especially with all that and then all that you've experienced just within your own family of trauma and people being ill. So I took it as I came back from class, and I never went back to gigging. I never went back to shows. I never went back to working events in that lifestyle. I took it as a sign. My friend told me, it was like, you got hit by this spiritual 2x4 over the head, and this was your choice. You go here, you go there. So I went further into my studies, but I went further more into taking care of myself and really honing in on my environment. Learning about, got kind of into biohacking and just like learning, adjust your environment, changing what you can around you to prevent any energy drainage or any additional negative effects to your body. So really got into like energy, I guess, elevation, and just kind of really bringing in more, started drinking structured water, reducing the amount of EMF in my life, turning off the Wi-Fi at night, because all those things really are helpful. These are all things that really can create a lot of fatigue in our bodies, in our heads, in our brains, and we don't know why. We're puzzled. Why is all this happening? We're in front of these computers for 8-10 hours a day with all these frequencies hitting us, and there's not a lot of good ones in there. So we need a counter, right? We need to, or at least I feel it's like, if you're going to be in it, do some grounding, go outside, take your breaks, So I spent a lot of time with that, really just kind of building up my energy field, continuing to work on learning about biofield energy, really looking at it as your field of protection. It's like it's like your shield from outside sources. If your biofield is big and strong, you can maybe be around things for longer periods of time, right? And maybe if it's a little weak, then you're going to be affected by things a little bit more. You know, and that's anything. That's anything that I've experienced and I've seen with clients. You know, whether it's a, you know, an experience with a friend, or it's a fragrance. You know, the smell of the fragrance makes me ill. It makes me funny. Your biofield could be having some issues, you know, something like that.
So sorry, I can hear myself echo, which is a bit distracting. Have you got headphones at all?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I did it even. My bad. How's that?
Let me see.
Let me see.
I can't hear myself anymore. That's great.
I even tested. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Does that work better?
Yeah, much better. And also you've got that cool like musician look going on as well. So
Just lost you.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
How's this?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I tell you what.
I lost you.
Oh no.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
No, yeah, that's not. How's that?
I can hear myself. I can hear myself coming through your computer, I think.
So much for the recording. Sorry about this.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
You're
even
as well. So that's the fun part.
I tested it right before too. So let me turn off this so you're not hearing. Okay, let me do something real quick. 1 second. All right, how's that?
There
we go.
Okay.
I think we're better.
So you can hear me okay?
Yeah, let me do a quick thing real quick. Mike.
Hello?
No, it got blurry because I moved forward.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't want to screw up your recording.
No, yeah, for sure. I don't either. And that's why, like, I tested it before and it was working or without any issues. And then obviously we had some issues. It's
I
okay.
can't tell you how many times I've come across issues in the last couple of weeks. You know, my own and other people's. I mean, stuff's a bit kind of havoc-like at the moment. Right. So I will cut that bit out. But anyway. So, Bobby, you were talking about the biofield, like that we all have this biofield. And we did actually talk last week, didn't we? And you were talking about the electric body. Could you explain to the audience what that is and what it looks like, please?
Okay. Well, the biofield is a term that came in 1992 by a group of practitioners, alternative health officials, that they wanted a term to really look at this phenomenon of the energy body that surrounds and penetrates the human body, right? They wanted a term because different practitioners were experiencing and working with people and having these neat experiences, you know. So people who are working with like working with chi, working with prana, things like that, those practitioners, they wanted a term that also wasn't even so a little bit more scientific, right? Not so, to put a little bit more science around the term, a little less woo-woo, because, you know, anything that can help that, right? And this is the field that surrounds our body, that it's about 5 to 6 feet around our bodies. It's 2 to 3 feet above our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a field that holds a lot of energy within our life. All of our experiences, good and bad. In this work that I work with, we work with tuning forks.
Mm-hmm.
And the tuning forks, we use this acoustic tool to bring in sound into the body.
Mhm.
And as I'm bringing in, I work away from the body. The body's currently, I work about 5 to 6 feet away from the body. And I'm combing in energy. I use these tuning forks similar to like magnets and silver filings.
Yep.
And that's the idea, is I'm picking up photons of energy. And this is energy that's possible stuck energy, um, energy that's not necessarily here, but it's out a part of us. And this stuck energy happens from a traumatic experience. It happens from some kind of moment of charge, right? Some kind of moment of charge that really created, either held on, you didn't express yourself. There was a lot happening. And I've seen stuck energy happening from big and small, right? Right. Whether it's a grief, a loss of life, um, to as a young child, you're moving with your family and you're coming into a new school.
Yeah.
Um, to even just being born, right? Mom's birth experience can be pretty traumatic. And
Mhm.
depending on how you came into this world, depending on that experience, that can create a lot of stuckness within this area, right?
Yeah.
So I find this energy, or essentially I find these stuck spots, and it's to me it appears as noise.
Mhm.
It appears as noise within the field, right? Into this biofield. The forks have a way of auto-tuning itself around the body. So if I hear some kind of traumatic noise, if I hear maybe some sadness, because you will hear that in the tone, it'll
Wow.
take it from a natural, beautiful tone to all of a sudden it gets like low
Yeah.
and you know, or it gets really
Yeah.
screechy, kind of as if maybe there was some kind of alarming experience,
Mhm.
you know. And plenty of times you hear the alarm, you're like, what happened here? And oh well, I had to rush, you know, I had to get rushed to the ER, or I fell and broke my arm.
Mm.
So many different things that can happen at these moments, right? So I'm working within the biofield with tuning forks, and I bring in that natural tone into that area.
Mhm.
If I hear that spot, I hang out with the noise. The
Yeah.
body has a way to auto tune, and then I can move forward with the energy towards the body.
Wow.
So we see that this energy sits kind of like rings of a tree.
Mhm.
So the further away to our bodies more is birth, though, and the closer it is, it's the most current years of our life.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so if I were to work around the whole field, if there's big moments, right? If I'm working in maybe the throat chakra, and I see something at age 3, and then I work maybe at the root chakra, and that moment at age 3 is big enough, I'm probably going to see it all along the chakras, right? All
Wow.
along the map of people. So I clear that energy and I bring the energy to the body, allowing the person to be in their bodies easier, breathe better, move
Mhm.
freely with this energy, restoring those energetic imbalances that were created through these moments.
Wow. That's incredible. What I'm hearing there is that you're, in many respects, you're kind of listening to the story of the biofield. It's like through your tuning forks and through your very well attuned ear and your ability to hear sound in a way that most of us can't, probably. Is that a fair assumption, given your experience of being a sound guy? It sounds to me like you're listening to the story of the body through the tuning forks.
Yes, yes, definitely. We're listening to the story. We're listening to, you can listen to the story. And that's also the other kind of a beautiful part of it is, or you can just move the energy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to even hear the story if for some reason maybe I didn't want to, and I just wanted to move the energy. Maybe I didn't want to
Mm.
involve the story with the client. Maybe
Yeah.
the client didn't want the story
Mhm.
because the moment could have been so traumatic, right?
Sure.
And
But
because
it's like the body is communicating with you. The body or the biofield is telling you something, isn't it?
yes, yes, it's as I'm bringing with the tuning fork into the field, it's responding back to me. It's
Yeah.
reflecting back information, and I feel it in my fork. I feel it in my body. I feel it in the field that I'm presently around. And usually that information that is being present is connected to either that moment or even the imbalance that we're working on. If we're working on, so we're working on the heart, there could be a lot of these different stuck parts that are connected with love or connected with heartache,
Yeah.
something like that. But the body is definitely telling me the story. It's telling me the information of what's happening, and we're holding that space, listening, and with the natural tone of the fork, it's able to correct itself, kind of do this auto tune, and
Yeah.
return back to the natural tone, of your body.
Wow. And presumably, if you're like making these beautiful tones for your clients, your body is also feeling that too.
Yes, we're
You can't,
definitely.
you can't turn your biofield off to work with somebody, can you?
Yeah, definitely. There is that. That's why it's important, right, to have a strong, healthy biofield. And it's important also, when you're doing this work, to make sure you're mentally in a good space, right? Mentally in a good place, a good space. Um, and with intention, intention is everything, is that you're picking up on their field and not your own field, you
Yeah.
know? So it's definitely, it's a learning thing, right? It's definitely a learning. I remember in the beginning, you weren't sure, but now I know their field versus my own, and that energy versus, and my energy is, it's not in the equation of what I'm trying to pick up until it's telling me something.
Wow, what a gift to be trained in such a way. I love that. So how many tuning forks do you have? How many different vibrations are you working with?
Right now we work with 3 of the solfeggio frequencies, and those are ancient frequencies that we work with 174 hertz,
Yep.
and that's looked at as like a natural anesthetic to remove pain. Work with the 528, and that's looked at as the love frequency. Yes, I have that right here. We also work with 417, undoing situations, facilitating change. And we also work with the Schumann Resonance. Eileen, she's my teacher and also the creator of this method, Eileen McCusick. She found that the Schumann Resonance, the body responds really well to the Schumann Resonance. And this
Yeah.
is the frequency, essentially the frequency of the earth, the heartbeat of the earth, right? So we look at octaves from 7.83 up,
Mhm.
and it's a 6th and the 7th octave. So then we're looking at 62.64 and 54.81. And those are the bigger weighted forks. You would see them with ends on their end like this.
Uh-huh.
You can't hear them until you bring it up to the body, or up to the ear, or to the body, but the body feels it incredibly. It's a lot more physically powerful.
That rings a bell because when I record hypnotherapy tracks for my clients, I actually put a Schumann resonance in the background, and that's exact sound that I'm hearing. It's very powerful, but I think I put it on because I like listening to it while I'm doing the editing.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can see why this frequency is really important when we are in nature, because
Yes.
this is a frequency that we're absorbing, we're connecting to when we're out camping, and we really kind of hone in. We're in the ocean, and we really feel connected.
Yeah.
They even have Schumann generators that people sometimes just play in their home to help
Seriously.
them with their whatever ailments they may have or issues they may experience, and they can just play it. And some people say it's really, really beneficial. It's amazing what you hear, because we have all this all this possibility with all these frequencies that people have used, and then so people are trying them. People
Yeah.
are, hey, I have a frequency generator, and I heard that this frequency helps with this.
Mm.
and they put it on their iPad, and maybe they put it on their hurt body part,
Mm.
and they come back with, wow, that I felt a little different in my back, you know? So it's definitely, there's a lot of potential.
But like hearing that tone then as you kind of rang it, like as you let it resonate out, you could really physically feel it. I mean, obviously
Mm-hmm.
I'm here,
Yeah.
there is a difference when it's kind of actually being like really made rather than
Yeah.
bones.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
definitely different. Like, that's what the other thing people, could you put the frequencies in the music, and having the brainwave, having binaural beats,
mm,
brainwave entrainment, that's extremely powerful. But like, I've thrown in forks in little soundscape beds that I've made, and
mhm,
they're nice. They sound relaxing, but it's different when you're in person and you're bringing it into the heart, or you're bringing it into the body, and you're feeling that energy that's either being swept in by the fork. You can
yeah,
feel it in your whole entire being,
mm,
and it's very different than just listening on headphones
yeah.
and just being kind of relaxed, right?
Yes, I imagine so. I mean, I've been to a couple of singing bowl baths, and yeah, it was a very visceral experience. You know, I went to one with lots of different people in this whole yoga studio filled with bowls and filled with people, and you really physically feel it. I mean, I guess that's no different from going to a gig. You feel it all over your body. I mean, I've been pregnant 3 times, and I can't go anywhere near live music when I'm pregnant because something in my belly just absolutely, I feel sick to my stomach. And my husband used to do quite a lot on the festival circuits in the UK when I was pregnant. And so, I'd be there watching him, the band would come on, and I'd have to disappear. It just wasn't going to work. So, yeah, we really do feel it, don't we? Um,
Yeah.
Something I notice as well, I imagine people like younger than 30 probably, unless they've grown up in the countryside, they probably haven't really experienced the Schumann resonance in the way that possibly you and I and people older than us have. Because I know we're born around the same, in the same generation at least. And, that was prior to Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So when I was at school, lying on the school field, like lying on the grass, you could feel something. There weren't all these sort of telecommunications, like bashing different frequencies around. You could really feel the connection. And you do when you're at the beach because there's not much at the beach. You're so close to the sea. You don't see pylons going into the water necessarily or telecommunications towers. It kind of ends at the beach and there's this like moment of purity. But I wonder what younger generations experience from vibration and what
Yeah.
they've never known the peace of it, possibly.
Yeah, and they're so connected, right? They're so
Yeah,
connected to, but connected in a different way.
yeah,
Connected in with the phones and this sorts of information that they're constantly putting themselves into, right?
yeah.
Um, but it's interesting that they probably don't have that experience. But I get some neat experiences with the youth when I work with them,
Yeah.
because their fields are smaller, and usually maybe if they haven't experienced a lot of stuff in their life, there's a lot more room for opening and expansion, and just kind of oh wow, energy, this is, oh wow, this is different, what is this, and there's a little, and they're open to it.
Mm,
They're open to even the change, right? The change that you could see within the sessions. Because within this work, that's the beauty of it, is really bringing that awareness back to my clients,
mm,
bringing the awareness back to who I work with, about what's keeping them in this loop, what's keeping them stuck in this path, right? What created that?
mm.
Kind of, where did it begin? Where did these patterns, or where did these stories begin? And that awareness, obviously, I'm clearing the energy, but also just bringing the awareness to the client and letting them know that maybe this anger or this pattern isn't theirs.
Yeah.
It was picked up through mom or dad. It was picked up through their brother or their sister.
Mhm.
Some experience that they had, and now it kind of became theirs, and now they're identifying with it. So it gives them that room to respond differently and be like, wait a minute, let's rewrite that. Let's rewrite that. Let's change that. Let's create a different story.
Yeah. And when you were talking, I mean, I love that you can open your clients up to new ways of experiencing their energy and perceiving stuff. When you were talking about the biofield being a bit like a tree, and that the outside represented the birth, like the outer ring.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, if we're going to kind of like ditch time and just assume that maybe um, like like there are time. Well, I mean, maybe not ditch time, but like if we're on a timeline, can you feel things before the birth?
You
Like, does the
can't.
outer bark, does that, to use your tree analogy, are there even greater fields and greater fields that actually kind of connect and merge with everyone else? That we're
Uh,
part of some kind of infinity biofield and we're all part of it, like subsets or something?
I can. I have detected prior to the birth, gestational period, where um, whether it's even prior to even essentially you coming into mom's belly, right, and that energy that gets there. Um, but I still look at it as that's the beginning of your path into this current life, this timeline right now, in this existence. But I am if you look further into it, and it's just something I haven't researched enough by myself. Like let's check on beyond birth,
Yeah.
because there's so much within birth to now,
Mm.
especially if a client is coming with a lot of stuff that I'm trying to focus on that. And that's definitely not to say that you can't, because I think the possibility, there's so much possibility within
Yeah.
this work. Whether it's a group experience, whether it's tapping into other energy systems, but people, we learn a certain way, and then as practitioners we kind of take it on in a different way. And obviously, like if you had a session with me and you had a session with somebody else, it'd probably be pretty different.
Yeah, of course. Um, I got a quick question. It came into my mind. You like
Mhm.
talking about incarnation and stuff. Have you worked with pregnant women?
And
Or
that
was
is
it just before
something.
they got pregnant, before they realized they were pregnant? Do you pick up on the incarnating soul?
Not that is something pregnant women, we do not work on pregnant women. We do not work on people who are really sick,
Mm,
because we do find that this work takes a lot of energy. It
mm,
takes a lot of, if you might go through, experience some detox,
mm,
and as you're experiencing some detox and your body is doing what it needs to do to reorganize itself around this new energy, that it really needs that. And if you're, say, a person has cancer, a person's pregnant, a person's sick, now
mm.
we're pulling away from those resources that they really need.
Yeah.
If a woman's pregnant, they could detox, and then the possibilities of what could happen there, we don't want to go there.
Of course.
So that's definitely something that we don't. But I've had some coworkers, and they've worked with like prior to coming into, or prior to trying to conceive, they worked on the stomach, they worked on the energy field, and in clearing that. And that was the hopes in helping it, a clearer field for that experience.
Wow. Excellent. Oh, my mind is full of questions now. um, so, do you think there is? Oh, I've got so many questions. I'm so sorry, Bobby.
No worries.
It's absolutely full of different questions. Like, do you think there's like an awakening frequency, like with the frequencies that you're working with, the solfeggio ones? I mean, obviously there are more than just the ones that you listed there. Um, do you think there is like um, like is there like an awakening frequency that could be I don't know. I guess what's on my mind is that like the Schumann resonance changes, doesn't it? You know, it like apparently it goes up and it goes down, and there are spikes and things. Do you think the resonance that we all live in is changing, and can we feel it? But how can we could we get that frequency and start using it? I don't know what I'm trying to say actually. I don't know. I've got a sense of something, but it's not really coming into a question. I'm really thinking about the possibility of collective healing and sort of like healing around the world, because I guess I was just talking to a homeopath, and I've got quite a few homeopathic friends, and I've got friends that do all sorts of different vibrational healing. And I think right now, if I was one of them, I'd be thinking, okay, right, how could I use my crystals? How could I use my homeopathy? How could I create something that would enlift and enlighten humanity right now, or to calm it during this change that we're going through? Is there a way of creating new frequencies? Are there people in your field that are creating new frequencies or researching new frequencies?
I mean, I want to address, I think we had mentioned something before, to lift up. There's not so much a frequency, I feel like the awakening, because you had mentioned, is there like an awakening frequency, right?
Mm.
And I feel that there's not so much a frequency that turns anything on.
Yeah.
And that's something, you know, I had that hope at one point in my life, you know, earlier learning about sound therapy and sound. And maybe we turn on this frequency and just turning on something, right? Like turning on the awakening.
Yeah, but people have to have their own choice, don't they?
Yeah. The free will is a big deal, and then also the want and then the desire, the motivation to move forward. So when we talk about like, is there a frequency that we can to help humanity? And I think the best thing and you were speaking about using crystals, the best thing to really help humanity would be working on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working on yourself entirely, right? You know, if we want to,
right?
yeah, vibrate out and creating your process, creating your routine for yourself with your crystals, with your essential oils, with your grounding, with your meditation, you know, taking care of yourself, because you are important and your energy field's important. And all these things help that, you know, if you give and you're spending yourself, you're not recharging, you're not replenishing your energy. You wouldn't just use your cell phone continuously and let the battery run out. No, you would have to charge it back into the wall. The same with your body, right? The same with yourself. If you're going to be running, you need to turn down and give yourself that time, so you can be good for humanity, so you can be good for whatever comes our way, whatever we experience, whatever we're dealing with. So when life hits us with the unknown, we can respond in a more present moment, more rational thought, based in reality, based in what can I do to help me in this current situation right now?
Wow, thank you. That's a great answer. When we were talking last week, you mentioned about the electric body. Is that a different way of talking about the biofield, or is that a separate thing?
It's essentially a different way. The creator of this method, Eileen Day McCusick, she wrote a new book called The Electric Body, Electric Health. I'll show it to you.
Ooh,
So that's a new book that just came out. And she's also the creator of this book, the Tuning the Human Biofield book. Now, this is the book that I read and it changed my life. But so she started addressing it as the electric body and electric health, and just kind of how we approach life with the electric, essentially a simpler way, almost even of biofield, right? And really kind of opening the doors to to the properties of electric health, what you can do to help it, what you can do to change it, and also bringing in chakras and the meaning behind the chakras that we see. Because she unmapped the biofield anatomy map, and that's a map that we see all these imbalances that occur that are connected to each chakra. And so she discovered that working in the body. So we use that as a little bit of a map, as well as within our own information that comes up. So it's just another term, I guess you could say, for the biofield.
Wow. Okay, cool.
And how you address it would be through electric health, right?
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So, is there anything you'd like to share with people about, how what I don't know, how you could help them right now, or how they could engage with you if they wanted to work with you? Like, what do you typically work on? Do you do it sort of like general diagnostic session, or do you normally sort of like go in depth on something?
I don't necessarily. We don't diagnose anything, and we don't say. We don't like to say we're gonna heal anything, just because that's non-ethical. But we can definitely help things.
Yeah.
It could definitely help the situation. And when a client comes in, I usually either the clients, usually when they come this direction, it's either they've they learned about it, they saw something, or they've been dealing with a life full of unknown, and doctors haven't been able to help them. And they're trying to find some information, right? They're trying, or even some alleviation, right? Just something to help themselves feel better in any way.
Yeah.
And so they would come my direction, and I usually, one session is nice, but I work on the field, 3 to 4, 3 to 5 sessions. You can really start sensing some change and some difference within the overall body, especially if there's a lot, if there's a lot that they've been dealing with, if there's maybe a history of some trauma, or if a person's dealing with maybe something heavier, like an autoimmune disease of some sort. We're going to be spending a lot of time into the field and clearing. And with those things and situations, what I see with people who make bigger changes in their life, this work goes far. When they start really shifting some stuff in transitions, then this work it's shining. It's going really far, and you can really see it too.
Wow. So it's kind of like an energy tune-up, isn't it?
Yeah,
everything.
Exactly. I've definitely described it like that, kind of like your chiropractic energetic adjustment. The more tunings you get, the more when you're out of tune.
Yes.
And
definitely.
you're like, kind of like, when you have a chiropractic adjustment, you're like, I need to get back in there and get adjusted. Same energetically, you're like, ooh, I've been hit. Or there was some experiences in life that has really kind of affected my energy field. I need some to help calm it down a little bit, some help it out.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible if you understand your energy patterns before you get ill. Like if you've been ill or had sort of like trauma play up again and again and again, I guess you get used to your own patterns. You get used to your own thinking and what might come up precipitating that. So if you're able to tune up, you're almost helping someone sort it out before it becomes a real thing.
Yes, definitely.
So helping to prevent, and make people stronger. So like you said, with your biofield shield, the biofield is a shield protecting people from other influences. I love that.
Their bubble of protection.
Yeah. 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 And there's lots of people that work with light, which is a different frequency, isn't it? So do you ever work with visualizations with the vibration work, or is that entirely up to the client's preference?
Visualizations, if we're trying to move energy, maybe we're in a stuck spot,
Yeah.
And if a memory maybe is coming up or something's coming up, we'll work on some, some visualizations and maybe some affirmations
Yeah.
to, or if they say something, we're like, well, what if we switch the script and say it like this, and bring that into their visualization.
Yeah, because I guess if you're saying something and it's a new belief and it doesn't resonate, you'll pick that up, both of you, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
We could. Excellent.
Yeah.
So you could also use it to test the truth of something, a bit like kinesiology. What do you like if someone's saying something about what they believe or what they're going to do, or almost like a lie detector, and you've got the tone around them? Would it change if something that's not resonant with them is being said or felt?
I haven't noticed the tone necessarily change if they weren't being true to what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of I've just kind of felt it. Like, is that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
Is it? Do you really feel that? It's more. You can, I guess I'm just kind of intuitively picking up on. You sure about that?
Yeah.
And usually it's responded with like, oh no, or
Mm.
a different response.
So here's my kind of possibly most important question. How much of this now is the actual biofield work that you're doing, and how much of it is your intuition that has come on since you've been doing that? Like, are they separable? Do you find that biofield tuning makes people intuitive, so that you sense that you become your own tuning fork?
I do know some people, like other people who study this, that either it becomes more expansive on, what the information that they pick up, or it kind of stays at a point and they're like, how come I'm not getting all this other information? And then the information that I receive is different than a lot of information that other people receive.
Yeah.
So it's very, before this work, there could be the idea that I had some intuitive nature
Mhm.
in my life and just kind of experiencing some other things that little things here and there, right? And maybe this opened up some more of those pathways. But definitely the more you listen, the more you become in tune.
Yeah.
And the more you listen, the more you have experiencing of listening, right? The more you listen to your body and the more you become comfortable with your body gives you more answers. The more you become in tune with it. If you're not in tune with your body, you don't have all these answers.
Yeah.
And then the more you can become present within yourself,
Mm.
you can come up with these answers. And it's similar to the more you become present within that space of holding space with another client and listening for that information and being curious. We talk about intention is key for everything and what we're working on, but also being curious to see what we uncover, to see what we find, and to see what the field is telling us.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. So you're a speaker at the Higher Self Expo, which is taking place on the 17th and 18th of July 2021 this year. What are you going to be talking about? Have you got a title? You don't have to tell us the whole thing, because obviously.
Yeah, it's I'm going to be doing a group tuning. I'm going to be doing a group tuning experience.
Mhm.
So I will be tuning the collective fields of people who tune in, who are present for that. And the way this work works is that even if you listen to it later, you should also benefit from it. You could listen to it in real time or listen to it later. So essentially what I will do is the collective fields of people present, I will be working on that biofield of the collective fields.
Wow.
And I'll be moving energy with the tuning fork. I haven't quite figured out. I've been coming out of COVID and everything happening. I haven't really been feeling exactly where we're going to go in July. So I definitely wanted to been looking at the heart, but also been looking at the feet. Been really feeling the feet.
Mhm.
Um,
Why are you drawn to
and
feet in particular?
drawn to the feet because we're all getting back up on our feet. we're
Yeah.
all getting moving again. We're getting, some of us are moving faster than others. Others are slow and don't know what to do. Some people might be stuck. And it's about getting that, getting that ground, getting your feet open and getting moving in the direction that you want to move, with all these, maybe there's some new changes in your life. Maybe there's some new discoveries, and maybe you just need that extra clearance or help to see it through, to help it happen. Right. So that's what I was either looking at, but I'll be tuning a certain energy center, and I will be bringing energy into the body with the tuning fork. And it should be a really nice healing experience, relaxing, energy shifting. And I'm really excited to connect with people all over the world.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really kind of groundbreaking, and it's less talk, isn't it? It's more,
Yeah. I will probably speak a little bit about what I'm experiencing. I like to share, especially if we're working on maybe, the imbalances of the feet. When you look at it as like next steps where we're headed to in life and feeling stuck, so if we're working in that direction, which I'm feeling more and more like we might go that direction, there might be the discussions around that within these areas. And then I break them, usually the biofield's broken up by age, and being, if I was working on a big group of people and multiple ages, we just I look at it as percentages, like 20% into the body, so whatever people might pick up on that. But it is less speaking and more energy moving. But it'll be a lovely experience.
Yeah, I will be tuning in for that one for sure. If someone wants to contact you and work with you directly, what's the best way for them to do that, Bobby?
Well, you can come to my website. It's www.biofieldtuningsj.com. That's S as in Sam, J as in John, because I live in San Jose.
Okay.
You can reach me there. I have a phone number on my website as well. You can send me an email. I do energy balancing with biofield tuning, but I also do coaching. I recently began coaching training with the Human Potential Institute. So I wanted another way to reach people and help people in more ways than sound. And apparently I love speaking and I love listening. I'm taking my professional listening skills to coaching and helping people, reach their potential and just kind of see their dreams out.
Wow, that's very inspiring. Thank you so much for that. Is there one last thought you'd like to leave with everyone today?
Last thought. The last thought, I guess, is whatever you do, do it with your heart. Whatever you do, really do it with your heart, do it with your soul, and take a breath before you do it.
That's perfect.
Just be present.
That's really, really good. I love that. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. That did not disappoint, did it? I was just chatting with Bobby for a little bit after, and yeah, it's so cool. I love the fact that during the Higher Self Expo, he's actually going to use his tuning forks to do it's sort of like a collective healing frequency. That just sounds really great. Tuning into the collective field of all the people who are participating in that moment. I think that's really, really cool. So if you've enjoyed this conversation and enjoyed meeting Bobby today, then please do feel free to get in touch with either of us. You can reach him via his website, which is, off the top of my head, www.biofieldSJ.com. So that's biofieldsanjose.com. And obviously you can connect with him via that. Yeah, and if you would like to connect with me, you can reach me. It's louisa@feelgoodastrology.com. I'm actually feeling a little bit spaced out now from all this vibrational healing talk, so I'm going to go and get my meditation on. But I absolutely thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for witnessing some of these conversations that I've been having. There are some very cool people in the world, and I'm just loving this. It's so good. If you've really enjoyed this, then please do feel free to share it to anyone that you think might like a bit of a vibrational pick me up. And also feel free to feel free to connect to my YouTube channel and subscribe. But anyway, wherever you are in the world right now, I wish you peace and tons of love and healing. Lots of love to you. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this conversation, then why not support today's guest at the Higher Self Expo in July 2021? The Higher Self Expo is a worldwide 24-hour event with 33 guest speakers who are all sharing their wisdom and exploring the connection between science and spirituality. To register your place and find out more, go to www.higherselfexpo.com.